Good afternoon, everyone. This is the weekend update for Buy Sell Short. Yes, we're a day late, as I mentioned yesterday in the chat room. It seemed kind of pointless doing a weekend update with what happened with the war in Iran and just to see how Monday ended up being. And, we had a big gap down. Futures were down red, and what's usually happened is whatever the futures do, the market does opposite the next session. So we had a nice rally to green, then we had another dip when shockingly news came out that Iran had threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz. Uh, yeah, oil up. If we look at the oil chart, the daily, weekly, monthly, all topping looking candles. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but times have changed since the last time we had this kind of stuff. We're not as reliant on overseas oil as we were in the past. And then again, the market sold off, kind of expecting this news. So this perhaps was kind of a relief rally. If we look at the QQQs here, we've essentially been stuck in this 20 plus point trading range. See if we test the 50-day moving average before it comes down again. The bright spot today, though, was actually Bitcoin has so far held its lows. When I did the last weekend update, I mentioned that this kind of chart formation has failed more times than not this year. We could continue to see a move up towards the 50-day moving average, 76, 77, but we need to get through this 72,000 range. The indicators say we could see that, and the fact that Bitcoin was able to bounce back today is probably a mild positive for the next couple of days. Tesla, red on the open, which is kind of funny because you would expect, other than the oil commodity stocks that were up huge, even though most of them make no money. EV and battery stocks used to do really well in this kind of environment. Tesla ended up bouncing back. This 200-day moving average is acting as very, very strong support. We're still looking at that funnily named 420 breakout here on Tesla. Last week, you ended up being a very, very nice winner. Ended up getting as high as $50 here. Very, very oversold. I actually used that opportunity last week to reduce my long-term position. It was up 96% or so in the last year and a half. So I used that as an excuse to book half, and essentially has now made it where YOU is a free long-term position for me, and it still pays a dividend. So you can't shake a stick at that, and that's now I can just ride it for as long as I want, a free position. Let's look at some plays right now. Commodity stocks did very, very well. Actually, let me pull up the chart for UAMY. They, of course, have military defense contracts, had a nice little move up here. It's kind of in no man's land. This is a very difficult stock to get, a good bearing on. But I could see this one trying to test the $12 range in the next few days. I would keep an eye on this one for pullbacks. This one should be a nice trading stock in the near term. With that in mind, SOAR, they are merging with a critical material stock. It actually broke that prior resistance at 33 and change right into the close. Next target, 20-day exponential at 39 cents. And then we have the 50-day moving average up there at 50 plus. Now, we had a recent merger play, SGN, that ended up just going, from 17 cents to 89 cents over the course of a week. And they weren't involved in a sector like this that appears to be a hot sector right now. Chart indicators look good. Stochastics in the basement turning up. So this one looks really, really nice right now. And, if you're looking for stops, as you should in this kind of difficult tape, that 27.7 level has been holding really, really well. Quick mention on NIXX and NIXX, still chilling here, waiting for a reason to break out. Earnings soon. The stock, if the huge revenue growth that it has been throwing off for the last year is to be believed, this is a stock that should have some very, very nice upside going forward. VRAX, Nothing more to say here. We need that 25-cent break on this one. And then the last one I want to mention here is MOBX. This is a defense penny play. And, you know, this has been a very weird small cap market. Aside from the fact that brokers left and right are stopping the trading in a lot of these stocks. And my theory, my personal theory is it is the brokers, you know, the behind the scenes brokers. I won't throw their names out there, but you guys know who I'm talking about, who naked short everything under the sun. They're trying to make it very difficult to buy stocks so that they can continue to do their crookery. Now, I will also say something I have noticed recently. I think the selling volume in a lot of these small stocks, you know, the sellers who wanted to sell are out. What we are seeing is manipulation from naked shorting. But whenever any kind of volume comes in, these stocks move very, very easy. And that is actually a positive. If we do see volume return to these stocks, we are going to see probably some very, very big upside moves. This stock here, MOBX, defense penny stock, you know, the last time we had issues in the Gulf many, many moons ago, this would have been a stock that would have gone to the 200-day moving average today just because it was defense related, kind of like we saw some of the Oilers. This may be a slow brewing kind of action that we see in these stocks, but I like the setup here. If I was looking for support or stops on it, I would say 15, 16 cents. But again, as I've been saying in the chat room, I don't think this is a market that you can or should play large positions. This is a small position market, and take the small moves and keep a little piece for the giant moves. And then once you start seeing more and more of these stocks go on big moves, then you slowly start increasing your position sizes. At least that's my plan for now. Could change tomorrow, could change a week from now. So that's the update right now, guys. You know, the one thing about war is it tends to be good for stocks, and it actually tends to help wake up some sectors. One of the biggest issues of this market over the last 6+ months is we've seen no momentum. We don't really have any sector peer type action in the small stocks. We see random stocks getting run up so that offerings can be dumped, but we don't see ABC moving and then XYZ because it's in the same sector as ABC moving. We've not really seen that. This war may start to wake up that sympathy momentum type action that we've been lacking here. So that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for listening and watching, and I'll see you all in the chat room tomorrow. Bye.